San Antonio. He proposed, and you said yes.
Barely.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Jada here, back with another video. So as promised per my last video that I did about the Ultimatum, we are now going to be talking about the Ultimatum season 2. This is basically the last episode, the very last episode where everyone was proposing to each other, accepting proposals, not accepting proposals, who knows, and then also leading into the reunion. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video, and today we are going to be doing our makeup. So that's kind of why I decided to switch back from my other setup that I did when I was talking about the 90-day fiance couples. So yeah, but I really love that setup though. In terms of the sound quality, it's way better than this, and it doesn't pick up everything like this does. But I felt like this is gonna be the best setup possible for me to actually be able to talk, you guys hear me, and do my makeup at the same time. Okay, so I already did my hair off camera because I think I've said this to you guys before in other videos when I've tried to do this. I have to do one or the other. It can't be both because it would just be too much. My brain would just go haywire and I just can't focus on what I'm actually saying to you guys. But either way, I do have my notes with me just so I could stay on track and not, like, you know, go off. But yeah, I'm gonna do my best not to do that. But before we get into it, I would like to quickly say to you guys to hit that subscribe button if you're interested in TV shows and movies of all kinds. Okay, when I say all kinds, I mean all kinds. We talk about pretty much everything, anything and everything that I want to talk about here on this channel, or if you guys suggest it, we gonna talk about it. Okay, so let's hop right into it. I'm probably just gonna start off with my skincare because I didn't actually put anything on my face. So yeah, now I have been kind of having some major issues because of the summer heat and dryness. Just been having a lot of issues with my eczema flaring up around my eyes. Y'all let me know if y'all have the same issue. Let me know what you guys do. I'm just curious. So let's hop right into what was going down in this last episode. So like I said, this was basically the episode where everyone had to decide whether they were going to walk away from their relationship or accept a proposal. I'm just gonna flat out say it. Everybody accepted their proposal. Huh? Unlike the first season of the Ultimatum, I think at least 2 or 3 of the couples decided to walk away. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was kind of floored when I saw that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Oh, also, I'm gonna be putting all the products that I use in this video in the description. I was really confused by pretty much everybody except for James and Ryan, if I'm going to be honest. Hold on, gotta spray. I've been really loving that aloe spray. Just got my little mini fan. I'm just gonna dry. That is a much needed step for me because I am a dry skinned girly, okay? So I was really surprised by all the other couples that accepted, besides James and Ryan, if I'm going to be honest. I kind of had a feeling, obviously, that, you know, James was gonna figure his ish out and they were gonna finally communicate with each other and, you know, probably work through the little issues that they were having. But everybody else, I was like, huh? The first couple, when we look at Alex and Kat, right? Alex was so analytical about everything. He kind of reminds me of Paul from Love is Blind, which I just watched the Love is Blind after the Alter episodes, y'all, and there's a video coming, okay? There's a video coming, so keep an eye out for that. He just was super, like, it has to be logical, it has to make sense, and it's just like, okay, but do you love her? Like, that's the big thing. Do you love her? Are you willing to put aside all this other stuff that, you know, you just overthinking, really, to really just walk down the aisle with this woman? Is she the one that you love? Like, that's all that really matters. And he could never really, you know, come up with an answer. And it just seemed like Kat, obviously being the soft-spoken person that she was, it didn't really matter, obviously, what Alex did. More than likely she was gonna stay. She kept saying, you know, she was ready to leave and, you know, she don't want to waste any more time. But let's be real, Kat, you wasn't going nowhere, okay? Like, I know that sounds kind of bad, but to be honest, like, she was not going anywhere. Her actions just made it seem like she really was not going to go anywhere. Like, she was saying one thing and then doing something else. But either way, they end up getting engaged. We move on to Raya and Trey. Okay, so Trey proposes, even though you know, they have their problems like we saw on the show. Raya, you could tell she was very hesitant. I was like, girl, I really just hope you say no, because I feel like you wasting this man's time. You just seem very unsure about everything. But either way, she said yes, and I was like, girl, why? I feel like you're being untruthful to yourself. I really think that's what it was with a lot of these couples. I think they just didn't want to look bad on camera or make their significant other look bad by saying no to the proposal, because it's wild that everybody still proposed to begin with. Like, all the guys still proposed, and then, you know, obviously the woman, I just personally feel like the women just didn't want, at least in some of the cases, they didn't want their man to look bad. That's just how I feel personally. I just did not see Raya saying yes, but she did. And I just don't understand that one. She was definitely one of the persons I definitely thought was gonna be like, yeah, no, this is not for me. When it came to Antonio and Roxanne, I definitely thought Roxanne was gonna walk away. I really thought that was gonna be the case, because the entire time she was fighting it. The entire show, she was like, I'm not sure. I don't think I can do it. I don't like the idea of marriage. It was coming from kind of like this feminist perspective of marriage, you know? Like, I feel like I don't want to do that because I don't really like the idea of being like owned by anybody and held down by a man. And it just seems really kind of like she doesn't really understand what goes into marriage, really, you know? And what's sad about it is that she had two other examples, her grandparents and also her parents after her, in terms of marriage, what it requires, what you get out of it. And she still was like, yeah, no, you know? So it was really weird. But I'm happy that she was paired with Alex, even though they didn't end on good terms. And even during the reunion, you could see that it was still kind of off, even though she pretended she was okay with him. But either way, I'm happy that they paired together, because Alex, even though he's super analytical, you could tell he understands with marriage, like what it really brings out, what it actually entails, and then also what you can get out of it in a positive sense. So I personally think that that was a good thing for her to see and hear from him, is that not all things, you know, when it comes to marriage is negative. I feel like people just make marriage seem so negative all the time. But let's skip into the reunion, because Lord knows there was a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna try to speed this up. In terms of the reunion, right? I have my notes here. We finally get to see Brian and Lisa again, because obviously, like we know from the show, before they even got to pair up, Lisa found out that she was pregnant and they decided to remove themselves from the experience. They didn't even get to take part in the show like that, but they come back. She gave birth to a son. There were some talks that Lisa was kind of pretending, at least Roxanne, okay, let's be real here. It was mostly Roxanne that gave those comments. Everyone else was kind of congratulating them and, you know, just like hoping for the best for them. But you could tell Roxanne was the one that was like, this is still looking a little weird. I find it interesting that, you know, Roxanne was obviously the one to try and calm Lisa down during the whole dating process thing. So they were kind of getting close, but Roxanne was also the one talking smack about Lisa. Child. Anyway, so obviously because she has now given birth to this man's child, she is definitely way more pressed now than before, because she's actually the one who gave the ultimatum in the first place. She was like, listen, we gonna need to figure out what we gonna do, because you're not about to waste my time. Like, either we gonna be together and we co-parent together, or we co-parent apart. I did these eyebrows way too boxy, but it's whatever. We'll clean it up with concealer. I didn't do my foundation. I did not mean to do that. See, this is what I mean. Whenever I try to do too much at once, I'm just like, okay, my brain. That is what's been going on with Brian and Lisa, because they actually filmed this reunion. I think that was a year after all of the filming. So, you know, we had to catch up, of course. Let's move on to Ryan and James. So Ryan and James have already set a date for the wedding. They were not playing around, honey. I'm so happy I got more of this when I went to Walmart, because I am out. Them two, and then also Alex and Kat have also set a date. And Roxanne, of course, was the very first person to comment and be like, oh, I haven't received anything in the mail yet. I didn't hear about that. And it's just like, girl, they just announcing it. Like, chill out. You could have a date saved, but don't have any invitations sent out. But to be honest, I probably wouldn't invite Roxanne. I feel like she'd be too cynical. She'd probably be the life of the party at the reception, but I just feel like she'd be doing too much sometimes. But it's just like, girl, just because y'all was on a show together doesn't mean they have to invite you to their wedding. Like, y'all are not friends. Y'all are acquaintances. They have their dates set, and All the other couples, the other two couples, they got engaged as well, but nothing's been happening with them, okay? Everything's been moving rather slowly. Ryan and James, like I said already at the beginning, they were kind of the only couple I was kind of sure about. Even though they had their little, you know, spats here and there, some issues, it wasn't really nothing that major. Let's move on to Raya and Trey. So they're definitely still figuring out their issues. I remember doing the show, they were trying to figure out like who's gonna move where. Are we gonna have one specific place that we could congregate to and actually try to get this marriage together and have kids, have a family? And you could see Trey was kind of fighting on the whole Atlanta thing, moving to Atlanta. And also Raya, I still don't know where she's at with kids. You know, during the show, she had said that she had lost a child with Trey before. At least I think she said it was with Trey. But either way, she lost a child, she miscarried, and ever since then, she's just been scarred when it comes to the idea of having kids, which makes complete sense. But the thing is, it's just like, that's what Trey wants, and he don't look like he budget on that. So, you know what I mean? So I think that's definitely a major thing that they're gonna have to talk about before they even work out a date and move ahead with the wedding period. Now, it does look as though Ryan definitely formed a bond with Trey when they paired up. And even Trey had acknowledged that he was catching feelings at the end, and that was also in front of Raya that he admitted this, okay? So when Raya and Trey had to obviously pair back up for the last 3 weeks, it was very awkward because it's like, well, how do we move past this if you already have feelings for somebody else? It's very interesting how they rehashed this in the reunion, because you could tell Ryan clearly is very much so with James. She has friendly feelings towards Trey because, you know, Trey and her, they hit it off, but on a friendly level. I feel like it was more so just friends. I don't really think anything romantic was going to come from it. But of course, Raya, I don't really think she would understand that. So Ryan was trying to explain to the hosts, Nick and, geez, I always forget her name, but they're married. The two hosts, yeah, they're married. But anyways, Nick and the other woman, okay? She was trying to explain to them that she was having a hard time trying to figure out how to express her congratulations to Trey and Raya, because clearly you could tell Raya still has issues with Ryan. She feels ways about Trey catching feelings, okay, honey? Still, to this day. But she doesn't really want to admit that, of course. But everyone on this show was trying to force this kumbaya moment, but it's just like, it's okay to not be okay with somebody. Like, just admit it. Ryan was trying to say to Trey and Raya, like, you know, I didn't really want to step on Raya's toes or make her feel uncomfortable, but I did want to reach out and say, you know, congratulations and say hey. But Raya, quick, like with the quickness, she was like, listen, you don't need to do all that. Like, you would comment on a photo, say congrats, all that, but you don't need to be DMing him, messaging him, none of that. And James, you could tell, was like okay with it. He was just like, listen, I'm comfortable in my relationship. But clearly Raya wasn't. But the thing is, if you take them out of this whole experiment, out of the show scenario, right? I can understand why that would be weird for Ryan to contact Trey. But at the same time, you have to also consider that they were on a show where they were basically matched with each other, living with each other, getting to know each other for 3 whole weeks. So it's kind of weird to just get up and just forget that person. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of a strange situation. But Raya was not having any of it. And she shut that down with the quickness, honey. And Ryan, she respected it. Ryan is probably one of the sweetest people on the show. Also Kat, but you know, she's just really quiet with it. She's a little bit more quiet than Ryan. But you could definitely tell that Ryan was just, you know, like, okay, let me just take a step back because I really don't want to get her agitated. There wasn't really much to say when it came specifically to James and Ryan, but it seems as though they kind of moved in together into Ryan's family's house as of right now, probably until they get married. But Ryan has a lot of siblings and James is an only child, so he's finally getting to experience that. So I thought that was a nice thing that was going on with them. But let's move on really quickly. Okay, when I say really quickly, because it didn't really go anywhere. The conversation did not go anywhere. Lisa and Raya, okay? Y'all remember when Lisa had that little explosion, not little, pretty massive explosion on Brian when he was trying to date or get to know Raya? Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So obviously it comes up in the conversation that, you know, Lisa basically referred to Raya as the Hooters bee. Hopefully y'all know what I mean when I say bee, because I can't say that word, but the Hooters bee, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, that was kind of uncalled for. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But you could tell that Lisa was in her feelings, okay? And she even said like that reaction kind of prompted her to take a pregnancy test. But the thing is though, I personally think even though yes, pregnancy can make you a little hormonal, make you a little emotional, whatever, I still think Lisa has some really deeply rooted anger issues. I think she has some problems she needs to deal with in terms of how she reacts to things. I just think it wasn't really all just the pregnancy, honey. I think you have issues, really. And even Brian had brought it up. He was just like, you know, don't be acting all, you know, special when you see me out here actually trying to engage in the process and get to know these other women. And I was like, oh, so that means y'all kind of had issues in the past with some jealousy issues then on Lisa's part, more than likely. I was like, you know, you brought him on this show, like let him do what he needs to do. He not disrespecting you, he just talking to Raya. Like, it's not that serious. So yeah, I guess she felt as though Raya was a little too into Brian, but she basically said that again when she was on the reunion. She was like, yeah, I just felt like you were getting a little too close and comfortable with my man. And it's just like, girl, it's a show where you basically have to date each other and then get back together with your original person. It was just so dumb to me. She doesn't apologize for referring to Raya as a Hooters bee. She basically said that she doesn't regret anything she said. She doesn't want to take anything back because that's how she felt in the moment. But the thing is, sis, you could feel how you feel in the moment. It doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? It's just, it still makes you look bad that you still couldn't apologize because your emotions led you to do something that crazy. You could tell Brian was trying to come to her rescue a little bit, but it was like, nah, let her drown by her lonesome, child, in this conversation. Just let it go. You could definitely tell that Lisa is very, very insecure with her relationship with Brian. And I just personally think that I kind of have to agree with Roxanne when she said that even though Lisa is pregnant, because at the time she was just pregnant, she didn't give birth as yet, right? Roxanne was like, you know, just because she found out that she was pregnant, it doesn't really mean that they have to be married. And I kind of agree, okay? Because if you got me acting that crazy on a show that you know good and well what the deal was to begin with when you walked on, you already agreed to the terms, I just wonder how it's gonna be in real life if he actually pops the question. Brian is a very cool-tempered guy, at least it seems. I just wonder how that's gonna work out. Obviously, I think opposites attract, but in this case, I don't know if the opposites are healthy. If Lisa doesn't figure out her issues, that relationship is not gonna work. It's going to crash and burn. So yeah, so I already see I'm probably gonna have to end up doing like my lashes and all that other extra stuff probably off camera because I'm probably gonna run out of stuff to talk about. But I think with Roxanne and Antonio, that was the one major couple in my mind, and I think in probably a lot of your minds, that you were just like, yeah, probably not. You know what I mean? Like, this is probably not going to go anywhere. Let's be real. You could tell that they were definitely being delusional with each other in terms of like what they were both asking of each other. It just seemed like they were not being true to themselves and what they want out of a relationship and out of someone that they're in a relationship with. It just seemed really like y'all are forcing this. So when Alex tried to, you know, be a little transparent with Antonio, saying that he feels as though Antonio is Roxanne's whipping boy, even though it came across kind of rude, okay, let's be real, I think it was necessary to say because that's how I was feeling too. I feel like he was basically kind of like the person that she was walking all over. It didn't really feel like she had any real respect for him. I'm just going to be honest in that front. She sees him as like her child or something. That's just personally how I felt and clearly how Alex felt, so he said it. And he didn't take it back either, so I was proud of him because I feel like on these shows, they be trying so hard to be liked and it's just like, nah, say what you mean and mean what you say and stick beside it. So obviously Roxanne, she says yes. Like I told you guys already, all the couples said yes. But Roxanne, I feel in the reunion kind of showed me a side to her where I was like, yeah, I really don't think this is gonna work out. He brings up the fact that she doesn't even want to wear the ring that he got for her. And I was like, what?
Roxanne and Antonio. He proposed and you said yes.
Barely.
How quickly after the engagement did you take it off?
I think like the next day.
I don't understand a person who gets engaged and then doesn't want to wear the ring. And she goes into an explanation. She's just like, I just feel like if I'm wearing the ring and he's not, it just, you know, makes me feel as though he owns me or something. And I was like, because he bought you a ring? Like, you feel as though he owns you? I just was trying to make the brain connection, y'all. I really was. But let me hurry up and do this liner, and then I can come back. But I just need precision, okay? We're back, you guys. We're back. So, yeah, I just personally think that Roxanne has some deeply rooted issues when it comes to how she views especially marriage. So I just don't see this working out too well. She was kind of the major one I thought of when I made the statement of everybody just said yes so that they didn't make their partner look bad or feel bad. And I really think that was the case with Roxanne. I think she is fighting with herself on this one. I don't think she actually wants this. If you don't actually want it, it's just going to, again, crash and burn. I just personally feel like the only couple that I really, you know, think is going to kind of successfully make it is Ryan and James. Obviously, yes, they had their issues, but it was really small stuff, in my opinion. It was more so a matter of James opening up to Ryan and feeling comfortable enough to talk to her about everything and anything, because that's going to be your wife. You're gonna have to feel comfortable with talking about everything, you know what I mean? But when it came to the other couples, it just felt like, you know, why are y'all here? Like, just break up. Raya also keeps talking about, you know, Trey not really dating her, taking the time to date her. But if you think about it, he did in the beginning and you didn't really seem appreciative of it. But when Ryan came along, she was very appreciative of it. And that's probably why he ended up falling, you know, a little bit for Ryan. Alex and Kat, I honestly feel as though, yeah, you know, it's just kind of one of those mid things, you know, like maybe they will, maybe they won't, I don't know. Brian and Lisa, I honestly feel like Brian is probably going to eventually just walk away from the relationship because Lisa is a lot, okay, and not in a good way. Roxanne and Antonio, not going to make it. I give it a couple more months, not going to make it. We're probably going to see an update probably somewhere on the blogs or on Instagram or something where they basically say, you know, we decided to go their separate ways. I just honestly feel like that's going to be the case. Did I pretty much say my feelings about everyone? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I did. So yeah, I'm just gonna put some lashes on real quick and I'll be right back. All right, you guys, so this is the final look. Okay, I'm really liking this. I love how I added like the green in the corner. It really gave it like a nice little, you know, some oomph, okay? But yeah, the lashes always bring it together at the end. I'm not even gonna lie. I need to invest in some more lashes actually, because the strip ones that I've been using, I've been running out real quick. But I did finish off my look with a little blush. This is the first time I've used blush. Hold on. I was gonna go with a brighter pink than this, but then I was like, I'm probably not gonna wear it. Let me be realistic with myself. So I got like this muted, like more of a flesh tone type of blush. So this is the, hold on, let me see which color this is. Wine, is it? In the Maybelline Fit Me blush. I'm really liking this so far. I really like this. It just gives like this nice like brightening to my face and I like it. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about obviously the ultimatum, the last episode, and then also the reunion. You could disagree with me if you'd like, okay, in the comments, but those were my thoughts. Y'all let me know what you were thinking about the show down below in the comments and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.